Hello, my name is Jacob Stoller, and I'm an expert on darkroom photography and film developing. This is a high school level tutorial on how to properly develop T-Max 100 film. To start, you will need to acquire a few items which should be provided by your teacher. Items you will need are obviously a darkroom. A darkroom is a spot where it is completely dark and you do not have any light. Any light will expose your film, ruining your photos. You will also need your film container or negative carrier, film spool, scissors, and a can opener. You will also need T-Max 100 developer, HCA, which means hypo clearing agent, fixer, stop bath, photo flow, a measuring container, and a thermometer. Once you have all those things, you can begin the process of developing your film. The first step is to make sure your film is fully rewound from your camera and all you have is the film capsule. Once you have the film capsule, you will now enter the darkroom. Once in the darkroom, you will use the can opener to pry open the film capsule. Once you have done this, you will take out the film. You will notice that one end is open and the other part of the film capsule is still attached. The attached film capsule is a black spot with white colored tape. You will want to cut that part off, making sure you don't cut off any of your photos. Now that both ends are open, insert the end you did not cut into the film spool, which is the white circle. Once you have inserted it, you will turn one side clockwise and the other counterclockwise in a sort of ratchet motion. The spool makes it so your film is wound up so when you go to develop, all the pictures are developed. Once the film is wound up completely, you will insert the film into the negative carrier. When the film is in and the lid is on, you are now able to bring it into the light. Now we will begin the process of developing the film. The first step is to get the measuring container. You will need 1 part developer and 4 parts water. 10 ounces of this will develop 1 reel, so you will need 10 ounces of this mixture. Once you have 10 ounces of this mixture, you will pour it into the negative carrier and you will agitate it for 30 seconds to make sure it gets to all the photos. Then let it sit for 25 seconds and then agitate it again for 5 seconds and then lastly sit for another 25. This process should be repeated for 6.5 minutes. Before you do all this though, you must measure your mixture to make sure it's at 72 degrees. If it is, you continue with this process completely. If it is different, you will look at the table and you will make the changes as necessary. Once you have found out your time and all that is done, you will now pour out the developer. Next, you will pour in 20 ounces of stop bath and agitate it for 30 seconds. Stop bath is used to stop the developer from overdeveloping your negatives. Once the 30 seconds are up, pour out the stop bath. Next, pour in 20 ounces of fixer. This will remain in for about 5 minutes. With agitating this for 25 seconds and resting for 45, you will repeat this process. Once this is done, you will now be able to open up the tank because your negatives can't be exposed now due to the fixer. Your film should look a slight purple color. This means that you did it correctly. If the film is a sort of heavy purple or dark purple, you restart the fixer process until the film has lightened. Once the film looks correct, you will dump the fixer out. Now, the film needs to be washed. Just run the film underwater for 1 minute, then discard it. The next step is hypo clearing agent. This is used to clear up any stray marks made on the film. You will fill the carrier with HCA and agitate it for a full minute. Once completed, discard the HCA and run the film underwater for 5 minutes. You will add 2 drops of photo flow, which is another cleaner, close to the end of the 5 minutes. Once the 5 minutes is up, you may remove the film from the spool and hang it up to dry for about 2 hours in an area that is clean with little to no dust. This is because dust can stick to your wet film and scratch your negatives. Lastly, once dry, you may cut them and place them into photo sleeves so that you can see them clearly. From this point, you can choose which negative looks the best and which was best developed. Once you find the photo you think is the best developed, you will be able to go into the darkroom to develop that picture even further. Once you have found the picture you wish to develop, you will now go back into the darkroom. The process now is to change your negative into a real picture. The difference between a negative and a real picture is in the negative, everything that looks dark is actually light, and everything that looks light is actually dark, hence negative. The process involves a lot of trial and error, so please be patient. Once in the darkroom, you will go to a photo enlarger. A photo enlarger is a device that exposes light through the negative onto a piece of photo paper. This creates your real picture. To start this process, you'll need to put the negative you want in the negative holder. Once you have the negative in, you will shine the light through it, but not on the photo paper just yet. The reason for shining the light through is to make sure your image is in focus and is the size you wish before you expose it to the paper. At this point, the image you are seeing is still the negative, not the positive. Once you have the image set, you will cut a thin piece of photo paper. This thin piece of photo paper will be called a test strip. Place a test strip under where your photo will be shining, but does not have the light on just yet. Once the test paper is under, you will set the time for how long you wish the light to expose the paper. The longer the light, the darker the picture. So this is why it is a test strip. You test how long you wish the light to be on. Now, expose your test strip. Once you have exposed your test strip, you will need to develop it. The process of developing the test strip is the same as the negatives, but much shorter. The first step is to place the test sheet into the developer. The test strip should be there for approximately 1 to 2 minutes or until it is fully developed. After it is developed, place it into the stop bath for 45 seconds. Once it is done, place it in the fixer for about 1 minute. Then, put it into a water bath just to rinse off any of the chemicals. If you find that the test strip is too dark, you need to expose the picture for less time. If you find the picture is too light, you need to expose it for more time. This is why it is a test strip, and this is why it's a lot of trial and error. You will repeat this process until the picture is how you want it. Once it is how you want it, you will use a full piece of photo paper. Use a cover slip over your full piece of photo paper and turn the light on to make sure it fits the right size paper. The cover strip is to make sure that your photo doesn't get exposed prematurely and to make sure that the size of the light is correct. Once everything is right, you will expose the paper. Once the paper is exposed, you will repeat the developing process. If it is not correct, you will need to restart this whole process with the proper adjustments. This process will continue again depending on if you wish to develop an even larger size of the image. Once you have completed this step, you can now move on to more advanced things such as light filters and toners. Light filters are small purple discs that change how the light hits the paper. Filters make it so you can darken certain part of the images to make it look more intense and pronounced, without darkening other parts that you don't. Filters range in how dark they make your picture, so choosing the right one may be tricky. This causes a lot of trial and error once again. When using the filters, the process is the same as before. You should start another test strip to find the correct duration of light you need. Also, there are different toners you can use. Toners put some colors into your picture, because at the moment they're still black and white. The most common toner, and the one that you probably will be using, is called sepia. Most of you know what it looks like due to Instagram and other social media, but for those who don't, sepia makes your picture look almost gold, much like an Old West photo. Other advanced techniques take place in the developing process. Once you get a picture you like and enjoy, you can expose another photo sheet at the same duration, but don't develop it just yet. You can use everyday items to make your pictures more unique. For example, if you dip a paintbrush in Developer and then place a few brushstrokes on the paper, the only parts of the photo that will show are where you have placed your brushstrokes, giving a photo a unique look. Other techniques is with a standard squirt bottle. Once you have another exposed but not yet developed piece of photo paper, you can fill a squirt bottle full with Developer. Then, you can use that squirt bottle and spray the page. Once doing this, the photo will look almost like a droplet. Once you have tried all these, you can combine, add, or drop any of these as you please. Photography is about expressing yourself, so feel free to develop and experiment as you please. Good luck, and thank you.